from the Section 420, Talkin Yankees. As you know, I like to talk and chat a lot, but my next guest, Christian, might even be able to out-chat me. He has his own YouTube channel called MLB CHATTER BOX, so let's see who can out-chat who. Hey Christian, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, James, for having me. It's been pretty cool to have this opportunity to come on your show and talk some baseball.
No, it's a pleasure, and I think it's great timing because, you know, obviously this is like a Yankee-oriented show, but of course we're entering the off-season, the winter season, where the free agency, and I love your show. Again, fans can check you out on YouTube, MLB Chatterbox. They can follow you on Twitter at MLB Chatterbox, as well as Instagram, MLB_chatter_box. So Christian,
exactly,
again,
got to get that underscore in there. Yep.
Yeah, gotta get those underscores in. So first this about your show itself. You started back in the summer. 2020, picking the craziest years to do it. But what was the inspiration to start it up?
Well, I really loved baseball. I do love baseball, and I love YouTube too. So I'm thinking I'm going for college to be a sports broadcaster, and I'm thinking, well, to do some experience, have some experience talking in front of the camera, talking in front of people, I should start a YouTube channel. And I'm like, I'm just going to do it this summer. And, of course, it was kind of before the whole COVID thing. And then I was like kind of in limbo in a sense of waiting for baseball to start. So I'm thinking, okay, is it going to be hot when people see it? Because I want to start it, usually in April and into March. But I think it was good in the summer for me because I just got done with my freshman year of college. And I was during the summer and I had time to kind of really dig deep into YouTube and figure out what am I doing exactly. So I started in the summer, and the whole idea was just to have fun with it and to get myself experience talking in front of the camera. I really didn't know how far I would get, but I started it, and it just kind of blossomed from there in the summer. And I was really happy that baseball actually happened because it would just be absolutely devastating if baseball did not have a season. And although you see my videos, I'm a pretty big critic of Rob Manfred, but I have to give him props just because he got the season to start and we got a World Series in. Regardless, I know fans are everything to any sport, especially baseball, and not having the fans there really was a bummer. But the fact that he got it started was great, and I'm very happy that he did. But yeah, when it comes to the channel, I just really want to talk about baseball. And my whole goal is to get baseball entertaining again to the youth and to younger people.
I just like your setup. You have all the different hats of all the teams on the wall there. But do you want to divulge which team you maybe are a fan of, or you just don't want to kill that mystique?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. I'm a Tigers fan. I got the Tigers cap on here. But the hat thing, I always thought hats were cool, and a collection would be kind of cool. My goal was to get the MLB hats, and I finally accomplished that goal. And I thought, well, a great background for a YouTube channel, or at least some sort of online, show to talk to baseball would be my hat collection. And I organized it, of course, if you look at my videos, neatly by division. The Eastern Division is at the top, the Central Divisions are in the center, and the Western Divisions are at the bottom. And if you look at my video, if you're watching my video, the National League will be on the right, and the American League would be on the left. So, pretty big hat guy, as you can tell. My ultimate goal is to make baseball fun again, because baseball, although watching it is terribly boring, I can even attest to that because when I was, younger, I could watch a Tiger game for 3 hours because they were good. But now I don't watch a Tigers game because A, they're not good, they suck, and B, it's just there's something with baseball that is not entertaining that when I watch a football game or a basketball game, even though I'm not a fan of those two sports, I think there's a problem that baseball needs to address. And I think it's the root of getting kids back into baseball at a high school, at a youth league level, that there's something they're not doing that is a reason why for this decline in ratings and such. So that's kind of my...
Yeah, I appreciate you doing that because to me, I think it's the best game. But yeah, I do understand from a lot of people come from. Personally, I think it has a lot to do with the phone itself because baseball, it's what separates baseball then from most of the other sports. It actually stops in time, and between pitches, and it gives you time to look down at your phone and you start scrolling and you're on Facebook. You look at that. Whereas, football, the action's constant. The quarterback hands off the ball, you're not going to look down at your phone. You're going to look with the action. So same thing, like LeBron's dribbling the ball up the court, you're not going to look at your phone. What's going to happen next? The problem with baseball, It has those breaks that makes people's eyes wander to something else. And I think that, that has a lot to do with it. As well as the pacing, it's as too. It's just it's just a bad combo. But overall, I do think it's the best sport though. Just all the different intricacies and things that happen, the home runs and the drama.
Definitely. And I think baseball with the whole pitch clock thing, and that was an experiment they did. It doesn't seem like it's going to be in the major leagues anytime soon, if at all. But I think with the pitch clock, the idea with the pitch clock is there, because if you think about it, if you watch a basketball game, right? Shot clock, for example. I don't know exactly the shot clock. What is it, 25 seconds or is it 20?
24.
24, okay. So it's 24 seconds. So you do the shot clock, right? Okay, LeBron, like you say, is dribbling up the court, passes around to the left, to the right, and you're constantly watching that clock. And if he does not get the ball off in time, then there's a penalty. So for baseball, there's no penalties. I mean, there's nothing that says you have to get the ball out of your hand in the next 10 seconds, or else you're going to get a ball on the next guy, or something bad's going to happen to your team. So you got to get the ball out of the hand. Same thing with the clock in football. When you snap it, you got to get it off a certain amount of time. You have to snap the ball. You have to be quick about it. I think the clock itself it is very visually appealing to viewers, because it's always there, and they have it in red or they have it in something, and when it gets down to 10 seconds, it turns red. 5 seconds and turns a different color, and it's so attractive, and it makes fans so tense.
You're actually the first person to really bring up the pitch count clock in that way and describe it, and just the way you describe it, I'm like, you know what, that would be more interesting to watch, because like I said, well, you're probably not gonna look down at your phone, because you seen that pitch clock go down, and is Garrett Cole going to let the ball go in time or something like that? So no, that's a really great point. I just don't think they're going to do it in that way, just because
no way.
Baseball is just so about the feel of the ball and the momentum at the time, and they're so picky, these players. I don't think you could force them to throw a pitch and make a strike, versus a quarterback could just hike the ball and throw it or hand it off. It's much easier for them to work on that. But that is an excellent idea and a really excellent observation by yourself.
And I think that, like you say, the Players Association would never agree to that term. Never in a million years. And because the players think of it as themselves. I do think that professional athletes, for the most part, not all of them, are selfish in the fact because they don't want to change, but yet they want to help grow the game, but they don't want to change. So, am I a traditionalist when it comes to baseball? I used to be, when I was when the first pitch clock thing, when it first came up, I was like, this is stupid. You watch the game, you don't need the pitch clock, who cares? But I think now that I'm getting a little bit older and I'm realizing, wow, not a lot of people, my age at least, enjoy baseball. And now I'm finding myself, I can't sit and watch a 3-hour game and waste 3 hours of my life just watching the baseball game, because it is so, it's very, you're watching one game. Now let's take golf, for example. With golf, if you watch golf, yes, golf is slow. I'm sure if you're going to, let's say the Masters or something, you're going to a major golf tournament and you're there, it's terribly boring. But on TV, they pan to one guy, they pan to Dustin Johnson, they pan to Tiger Woods, they pan to all these different golfers, but it keeps going for the most part. Baseball, there's one game. I mean, you're showing the guy circling around the mound, showing the guy adjusting his batting gloves, but it's the same game. There's no new action. You have to wait, and I think that's the problem. People, at least in our generation, with the phone, they don't want to wait. You scroll down, okay, you like a picture. You don't even remember what you liked 2 seconds ago because you're so just want the next thing. And that's a problem with most people my age, at least. They want the next thing. And with baseball, it's like you say, it's a very patient sport. And that's why people say that's the beauty of baseball, which it is. But people my age don't look at it that way, sadly.
That's a totally good point. And there's some other things floating around out there. Coast 2020, they did the DH in both leagues.
Yeah,
I think at some point that's going to become a thing in the future, as well as now they're talking about the automatic strike zones for the umpires. I mean, what are your feelings on those two issues?
Well, I think the DH, it wouldn't be bad. I mean, since the leagues are now integrated, basically, I think the universal DH, just do it, might as well, because before they integrated the leagues. I don't remember exactly when, early 2000s they did it. And, it was, American versus National League. You would never have the Tigers and the Cubs meet. You would never have the Yankees and the Mets meet unless they were in the World Series together. And now that you have interleague play, so much interleague play, it's not even just a thing anymore. It's not just like, oh, well, the Pirates are just going to have the interleague for this year. And then, a couple of teams for interleague. It's everybody at least plays at least 2 to 3 series interleague, correct? So I think with the universal DH, it wouldn't matter because the leagues, it's like the NFL. There's no AFC and there's no NFC anymore. Soon there's not going to be an American and a National League that at least there's a difference between them. There's not going to be a difference. So, and I think it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's not going to make a difference if they have the DH in both leagues. The players' union would love it because it gets more people jobs. I think from a fan's perspective, I don't think it would matter. And I think, when you go to the World Series, it's a terrible disadvantage for the National League or for the American League team going into a National League ballpark. And you got the pitcher up in the 9th spot, and you got to, if you got Garrett Cole on the mound and you're versing the Dodgers, and you got, Walker Buehler's going to the 7th, and same with Garrett Cole, and now, do I pinch hit Garrett Cole with 2 men on and 1 man down, or do I leave him in there, hope and pray that he gets a hit, or somehow gets on base, or what do I do here? I mean, that eliminates that altogether. I think for an American League team and a National League ballpark in the World Series, such as that scenario I just gave you, that would be, the American League would love it in that aspect of it. And I don't think it would affect the entertainment value of the game at all.
And for the automatic strike zones they're talking about for umpires, like
the automatic strike zones, that's a tough one for me, because the instant replay is good. I like the instant replay, but the automatic strike zones, I think it would lose a human element to it. Because I think a lot of times games are, for the most part, yes, they are decided by strikeouts. There are a couple controversial strike 3 calls out there in the history of baseball that decide games or have decided games. But for the most part, it was plays at first and plays at home for the most part. Or the controversial ones, of course, would play at first. Sucks for me as a Tigers fan, but Armando Galarraga, I think back in 2009 or 8, he had the perfect game going against the Indians, and Jim Joyce? I do believe. Yeah, Jim Joyce blew it. And, it cost them a perfect game. It did. And, now they got the instant replay is good, but I don't think people have really, the instant replay hasn't really been put to the test in a sense of, we have never used an instant replay yet where it has determined that big of a call. If let's say that happened with Armando Galarraga and the instant replay happened, right? He goes to first base, he gets the ball, yes. And, no, he's safe. And then, let's check it. And then there's a wait period. Then you sit, you wait. Oh, yeah, he's out. But then the excitement's a little bit gone. And I think we'll find that out. But when it comes to the automatic strike zone, I don't like it because I think people will even get more mad because they won't be able to see what the computer is seeing. At least with the umpire, you can kind of have, in the back of your mind, maybe that was a strike from his point of view, even though the players aren't going to admit that. But I feel like it'd be very hard to argue. You can't argue with a computer. You just can't. I mean, there will be no human element to it, and I think that's bad. Even though people, of course, you want the game to be called right, but I don't think the strikes, the ball and strikes call are not that detrimental when it comes to the outcome of a game. Of course they are, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's that detrimental to the outcome of a game versus a play at first. That's just the way I see it. I think I keep the umpires as long as you possibly can, because if you get rid of the umpires, then forget it. Then get rid of all of them. You don't need a third base umpire. You don't need the guy down the first base or third base line. You don't need the home plate umpire. The umpires would be gone. And their union wouldn't want it because it would be like, well, you just stole our jobs. Like, forget it. There's no more umpiring for anything. And that could go to all sports. So baseball does it. Football will do it. Basketball will do it. Hockey will do it. And then forget it. So I think that's a very bad road for baseball to go down.
Complete agreement. And just like the point made before, just like the momentum of the fans, like it's sort of like we have the NFL now. It's an instant replay for every touchdown. Well, someone makes a great catch, and it's like the fans are happy, but you kind of can't really get too excited because they may overturn it. So it's like you lose that burst of energy that you get with an umpire calling a ball or calling a strike. And again, umpires in baseball, I think they're just part of the nostalgia, same as pine tar and chewing tobacco, even though you're not really supposed to chew tobacco anymore. But they're a total part of the game. And yeah, I completely agree. Even if, like, again, I think some bad umpiring cost the Yankees in the ALDS against Tampa meant they called every low strike. But even with that in mind, I still want the umpires, the real human beings there, not some machine to call, green or red. And then, of course, even if they go with machines, people are going to think of conspiracy. Oh, this thing's rigged program for this team to win. Or the Yankees rigged it for that to win,
That's a good point. I did not think of that. And it will be the Astros, 2.0.
Hey.
I mean, it's going to be, that's what, well, yeah, we're in, because it'd be like you say, the Yankees and the Dodgers in the World Series, right? And the Yankees go to LA for the World Series. And all of a sudden, like you said, every low strike is getting called. It's like, well, why wasn't it getting called in New York? Well, there's different cameras in LA, and LA that's their home, and why is it getting all called for them? I mean, like you say, conspiracy theory out the window.
Exactly.
Without, 100%. I mean, conspiracy theory all the way. It will never work. It will never work.
Now, in terms of actual free agents, a couple of names out there, probably in terms of pitching, the biggest name out there might be, I guess, Trevor Bauer. Do you see any idea where you think he might land, and do you think he'll get sort of like Garrett Cole or Matt Scherzer type money?
I think now. Okay, so I watch his YouTube channel, Momentum, and he's an interesting character because I like Trevor Bauer a lot. I think he's a great pitcher. I mean, obviously Cy Young Award winner, so I mean you can't he's Cy Young, so I mean of course he's great. And I think I've always kind of thought of him as not as that great of a pitcher until he won the Cy Young. And now seeing him on YouTube, I think that's really cool to give a fans the inside look. And that's what I'm talking about growing the game, is that we need players like him who understand the problem with the game. And I think him being on YouTube and doing social media stuff is great. And when it comes to where he's going to go, he's such a troller when it comes to Twitter and everything. He's like, oh, I tweet about the Angels. Oh, I might go to the Angels. Oh, I might go to the Mets. Oh, I might go to the Dodgers. So I think where he will go, he made a bet with his friend. If you did not know, I'm sure you know of it. But if he has to keep getting 1-year deals throughout his career. If he doesn't get a 1-year deal, he gets shot with a paintball gun or something. So I don't think he's going to get a 1-year deal. I think he's going to be smart, shot with a paintball gun, and sign a 5-year deal. Probably past $100 million, I would assume, because Garrett Cole got 300, 200 something million. So I'm sure he's going to get well past $100 million. I would say, if I had to guess, 180 for 7 years. I'd say 180 for 7. I would say 7, maybe with an option, a club option or a player option. I would say at least 180, just because although he's a little bit older, isn't he? I think he's kind of in that teeter-totter age. I do believe
30, 31 about. I think
30, 31.
Yeah.
So I feel like that new 30, 31, it's like, it could go either way. I think that's the only thing that leeries people. And again, he's not the biggest guy on the bump, but I think he's a bulldog on the mound. And I think if he's going to go to some team, I think it would be the Mets. I really do think it would be the Mets. I don't think it would be the Yankees, because the Yankees, I think they should do it, the Yankees. But I don't think the Yankees would do it, because the Yankees focus too much on offense, and I don't like that. They can't win with offense. So I would say Bauer to the Mets, 5-year deal, upward of $100 million, close to $200 million for 5 years. That would be my estimation or guesstimation. So.
Yeah, that would seem more likely. Just even though I'm a Yankee fan, I wouldn't mind having him. But I just think after the boatload of money they spent on Cole last season, they're going to spend at least $100 to $120 million to get DJ LeMahieu back. I just don't think they looked any high ticket price, free agents like that. So yeah, I could more easily see him going to the Mets, where Cohen's already spending money. They recently signed James McCann and Trevor May, and of course there's gonna be other as well. So again, of the two teams, if he does come to the tri-state area, it would more likely be the Mets than the Yankees. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah, I think it's either the Mets and I mean anybody who's willing to throw money at him. Like I say, he's not going to take that 1 year deal thing. There's no way. He'd be crazy if he did it, and more power to him if he did. So that'd be kind of cool. But I don't think he's got to go to the Mets. That'd be my guesstimation. And then when it comes to the Yankees, I mean, they have a problem when it comes to the. First of all, the pitching's terrible. I mean, you know that. I mean, you can't rely on Garrett Cole to be like God, basically, and to get you through every postseason. Like, there's no way you cannot rely on Garrett Cole. And the way they use Garrett Cole in the postseason really ticked me off. I'm thinking you paid this guy upwards of $300 million, and you won't let him go past 7 innings. And this is ridiculous. I mean, this is against the Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays, who literally I saw this on Instagram. Garrett Cole makes more money than the whole Rays starting 9 combined. I mean, that was ridiculous. How can this guy not go past 7? And I mean, I know it was game 1. I understand that. You save him for game 7. But my whole point was like, look, you ain't gonna. Why would you even think there's going to be a game 7? You cannot think there's going to be a game 7. That was their excuse. We're going to save him for game 7. Well, you got a game 7. That didn't work out for you, did it? It just didn't work out. And they should have.
In that last game, he was only up to like 94 pitches, and again, they yanked him. Again, he's supposed to be an ace, and they wouldn't let him go even to 100 pitches. It's just that was insane.
It was ridiculous, and and he's not New York. It's not cold, so it's sunny San Diego. I mean, it was a beautiful day, beautiful night. No one's there, no pressure. There's no pressure. I mean, this is the best. This should have been the year the Yankees went to the World Series and won. I mean, they had no pressure. They had no fans. They weren't playing in New York. They had no weather problems. They weren't versing the Red Sox. They were going up against the Tampa Bay Rays, who their ball boy probably makes more than what the Rays are worth. I mean, seriously, like, it's ridiculous. The Yankees ball boy probably makes more money than the whole club. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous. So you have that. You have this great just combination of things all coming together for the Yankees. They're in California. They're not New York. It's not cold. They're versing the Rays. It's expanded playoffs. Yes, it's expanded playoffs. I get that. But for them, like, you cannot lose to the Rays. I mean, you just can't. And the Rays didn't win anyways.
And this is switching just back to the Tigers, for example. What's like the latest with Miguel Cabrera? You don't hear much.
Miguel is absolutely, I think he would have had a great year this year. I really do. But the COVID thing got to him. Miguel, I've met Miguel a couple of times. Oh. He is, he just seems unfocused. Like, if you're really asking me, he just does not seem focused when it comes to his task. Like, yes, he's a fun-loving guy in this, but it gets to a point where it's like, dude, you haven't won here. You've been here since 2008, okay? And you haven't won. You won with Florida back in 2003 when no one even knew who you were. And you got to win, dude. Like, he has only been to one World Series. Remember that. He wasn't on the 2016. So he was only there in 2012. He's only been to one World Series with the Tigers. Been to a couple of playoffs appearances, of course, but failed in, that quest. So Miguel, he's going to be a DH. It's the way it is. I think he would have had a good year this year, but the whole COVID thing got him mixed up, and he had, of course, drinking problems in the past, and I'm sure he's trying to figure out that. I think that should be behind him by now. I mean, he's almost 40 years old. If he can't get over that, then I don't know what to say. I mean, the point comes where it's like, you know what? You got to win. I mean, they say, oh, he's the leader. He's not a leader, and he doesn't lead by example anymore because he doesn't hit anymore. So it's like, he's our leader. He's our silent leader. He's not your silent leader. He's your silent bum who you have on the bench and strikes out half the time. Like, I mean, he's not Miguel. He always goes to right field, which really ticks me off because it's like, you're right-handed. Bat left-handed. Like, seriously, if you're going to go to right field, just bat left-handed because he goes to right field, which Comerica Park is gigantic as it is. It's 330 down the right field line. It's 420 in center. It's like 325 in left. And then in right center, there's that weird gap. So, I mean, he's not playing in a bandbox at all. He's not in Yankee Stadium. Not if it was Yankee Stadium, he can go to right field every day.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he had 50 home runs in Yankee Stadium if he would play for the Yankees. So he'd just be flip the bat out there and get a home run, because this guy can literally get a ball out to right field one-handed. I mean, that's how strong he is. He's still strong, but he just doesn't pull the ball.
One of your videos regarding another aging player, Robinson Cano, of course, got caught with the PEDs. Now, again, we don't know the full issue with it, but I mean, do you think it's a case of him just trying to beat the system, or maybe possibly he just innocently took it something without checking in and just, you know, got caught blindsided? Like, you know, what's your feelings on Cano?
I said this in my video, and I said, first of all, this was, okay, so what I found interesting, I was listening to MLB Network with, I do believe it was Joe Sherman, and he talked about the facility where the MLB uses their testing for drugs and stuff, for PEDs. So the testing facilities in Montreal, which I don't understand, but I'm not a doctor, so I can't really speak on that. So it's in Montreal. And in Montreal, that hospital is mainly used for COVID cases. And again, rightfully so. COVID's the most important thing as of now. So, but when it comes to baseball, the same thing was COVID. You always heard about COVID testing every week. And every week there was a new positive test, and everybody freaked out. So, but again, there was never a, PED test. You never really heard of it. And it came out that they never really started it until August. And until like late August or mid-August and late September and early September. So they didn't really start it till late August or early September. And I think Cano really took advantage of it. And I wouldn't be surprised, there aren't a lot of players out there who did. And he's probably thinking, well, they're not testing me. They haven't tested me in a while. And the results didn't come back until like after the season, I would assume, when the Mets were already out of it and he didn't care, and that was it. So I think Cano saw an opportunity. He's like, well, shoot, I'm getting up there near 40. I'm here in New York. I want to have a good season. This is my opportunity. I've done it before. I probably won't get caught because of COVID, and I'm going to take it. Now, again, when he took in Seattle back in 2018 when he got caught, he said it was prescribed by a doctor. Now, I don't really believe that, just because it's like you're in, where is he from? The Dominican. So it's like, what doctor? I want to know the doctor's
doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want to know the doctor's name. I said this in my video. I said, first of all, what's the doctor's name? Is it Dr. Who? Is it Dr. Seuss? Is it Dr. Pepper? I mean, who is it? I really don't. I really want to know who is the doctor who prescribed the pill.
Christian, I appreciate you getting your time. Again, fans can check you out, your YouTube channel, MLB CHATTER BOX. Follow you on Twitter. Follow you on IG. They can check the Cano video and other videos coming out. So,
yeah,
again, appreciate you getting some of your time. And, let's hopefully have a good, successful winter season for both our teams.
Yeah, good luck to you and the Yankees, and we'll see where our teams stack up at the end of the season.